Hello everyone, welcome to Nobody's Tribe. This is a place of unconditional love. Before I start, I really want to show you this view. Just happens to be this amazing right when I start my video. Breathtaking. I would film it more, but I don't know, you guys might get bored. Today I'm going to talk about holding space. Holding space for the dramas in our play. Because as we all know, there's lots and lots of dramas in this very, very complicated play that we exist in. And going through awakenings and going through seeing our way out of that, a lot of things that we're told aren't true, and that there's a lot of lies and there's a lot of corruption and all that. It's a wild ride. And often what light workers tend to do is they tend to go around trying to be the thought police on people with emotions, or the emotion police. And what it is when our loved ones and friends and stuff like that are having conflicts in their life, we go around trying to explain our perspective on why they should have different emotions and why they don't need to have the emotions that they do have. And only if we could convince others to change their perspective, then their emotions will subside. The thing is generally we're not actually trying to get rid of their emotions. We're not trying to genuinely help. We can't deal with the fact that it hurts us so bad, when we see others that are in emotions that we feel like are unneeded, you don't need to be having this emotion right now because look at it from this perspective. And what we're in a sense trying to do is we're trying to convince people out of their emotions. And being on this path, I've realized that it ends up making everything into more of a problem, because then you have a disposition of trying to convince them of a perspective and it almost from their perspective it doesn't feel very loving. And I've had my shares of times doing this, and I've noticed recently with dramas and emotions going around in my family, the best thing we could ever do is hold space. And that's just the way I picture it. Is I picture myself holding space in my heart, as in like feeling my own heart and holding space for the person that's in pain, and having no need to fix it. There's no need to change their views. There's no convincing that needs to be done. All we have to do is hold space and hold our love for them, And it's actually a lot easier. Because as the going through these awakenings and going through all this knowledge gathering and all this stuff like that, we feel like we're supposed to have all the answers, and we feel like we're supposed to fix people, and that's not our job. Our job isn't to go around fixing everybody's plays. Everybody is in their own reality, their own play, and sometimes the only thing we can do is hold space. We don't have to change their perspectives. We don't have to try and convince them out of it, because what we're doing is we're attempting to change them because we can't deal with how it makes us feel. I'm starting to realize that more and more, is that when others are in distress, I'm angry at them in a sense, because it doesn't make me feel good inside, because I can feel their emotions. And I'm thinking, only if they could change their perspective. If they can only change their perspective, then they would understand. But that's not the case. We can't change somebody's perspective. Like we could really try, and honestly, most of the time we become very annoying. I'm pretty sure you guys have had your share of battles with people about perspective. Well, if you only understood that reality is a hologram and we're all consciousness, then everything would be dandy. And it's just, you can't. Others are going to have to figure out this whole conscious thing in their own journey. Nobody could convince me of this stuff just by arguing with me about it. 5 years ago. This is a journey of our own inner awakening. Everybody's on their own ascension path. And the more and more we can get us light workers and empaths to hold space for everybody in our life, instead of trying to be the emotion fixer, or we're going around being the emotion police. Hey, don't have that emotion, because the only reason you're having that emotion is because you have false beliefs. Those false beliefs are third dimensional, and I don't like it. We can't do that. What do we gain from that other than trying to calm the storm within our own being? It seems selfish just to not help and not try and help when we're like, I know how to fix it. I know how to help everybody. So then we end up turning it into this mission to change everybody's beliefs around us so that we can feel okay. And I want you to know right now, if you have dramas in your life and people are stressed and people are worried and the government and the money and this and that, you don't have to take it all on. You don't have to go around and make sure that everybody's comfortable for you to be comfortable. It's not selfish to hold space. It's actually the most loving thing that we could do. People, for me, when people are upset in a room, I've never realized it, but I generally talk, and I would flow in information, just charging at them to try and get them to stop having that emotion, because I felt it in my body. I didn't like the feeling. And now I've realized that through so many different times and processes of doing that, I would realize that somebody had a negative emotion, I turned it into an argument, and then it polarized both of us, and then there would be a situation where it just went like, my ego wouldn't know what was wrong, or how come they don't want to have this perspective, it'd be helpful for them. Like, it doesn't work. So as Matt Kahn, he hit the nail on the head, is treat it like a child in pain, treat your own inner self. And what I would say for those that have been trying to do this is that if you can't hold space for those in your drama that are having emotions, then you probably can't hold space for your own inner turmoil. So if you are upset with people for having third dimensional old paradigm emotions, what happens when you have those emotions resurface? Are you going to treat yourself like you treated them, like, oh, this shouldn't be happening? Or can you hold space for yourself? Because I've realized that generally, if we can't hold space for others, we're not holding space for ourselves. And the self in you right now that has turmoil and that has baggage and has emotions doesn't want your new paradigm belief systems. It doesn't want all of the knowledge in the world to change its perspective. It wants to have its emotions, and it wants you to hold space. So if you can start holding space for yourself, hold space for your own heart, you can begin to start holding space for others in your life, and realizing, regardless of what your brain believes other people's emotions are, I find most emotions to be almost, it's hard for me to connect with emotions anymore, because my belief systems don't allow me to have emotions that other people have. And so, I definitely at first wanted, like, oh, well, maybe I can change your perspective. And now I've realized with the resonance in my body that's not what we're called to do. That doesn't feel good in the body when you're trying to fix somebody. But when you hold space for somebody, it feels good. They're having an emotion. They're upset. You don't have to fix their drama. You don't have to fix their play. You don't have to convince them to why they can see the bright light at the end of the tunnel. You can just hold space. You can just be a loving presence. Feel your own heart while you're doing it. So hold space for your own inner child, for yourself. If you yourself are having lots of third dimensional emotions, and you're just shoving them down because, oh, that's the old paradigm, I don't believe in that stuff anymore, you're doing yourself an injustice. These emotions are real, and they are, it's part of you. It's part of you that was left behind and trapped. It's trying to reintegrate. you have an aspect of yourself attempting to integrate and attempting to be heard. And if you culp it down to, oh, that's just my ego, or that's just the old paradigm trying to attack me, you'll never hold space for yourself. And if you can't hold space for yourself, it's only going to get louder. It's only going to get louder, and we don't want it to get louder. But hey, whatever it takes. So I guess the key of this video is allowing others to have their emotions and having no need to change that, and allowing yourself to have your emotions and having no need to change that. Just hold space. If you guys like my videos and like my message today, you guys can find more of my videos on Nobody's Tribe on youtube.com. If you like reading, I have a blog. It's onenesswithinus.wordpress.com. And if you like what I'm saying, you resonate, and you want to support me and my twin flame fiance on our journeys through ever-expanding consciousness, you guys can donate at gofundme.com/natureslight. If anybody wants one-on-one support and help, I do Skype sessions with anybody that is struggling and going through a hard time. We're in a very very upheaval time of our collective consciousness, and I want to be here to hold space, for anybody that's in need right now. And so you guys can Skype me. My Skype is Nobody's Tribe, or email me at nobodystribe@gmail.com. My unconditional, heartfelt love to every one of you, and safe travels in the now.
Beautiful to love, beautiful to trust. Above is like below, and all of it's enough. Beautiful to love.